Hello, everyone. This is Annika Hurwitz speaking from my inspiration today. I'm inspired to try to help clarify what the 3P single paradigm is all about. And this inspiration came after speaking with one of my brothers who listened to the first Facebook Live event I did on Tuesday, one in a series of 5 to try to help people who are anxious during this pandemic. And he was wondering if maybe it was a cross between Buddhism and therapy, because Buddhism talks about having consciousness about thought, and therapy talks about the importance of being in touch with your feelings. And I talked about both of those things. And what I tried to explain to him is that it's actually a completely different paradigm than meditation or therapy. Although the 3 principles are mind, consciousness, and thought, and we do talk a lot about having consciousness about thought. And when we talk about the 3 principles as a single paradigm, the single paradigm that these 3 principles have revealed, we talk about the importance of being in touch with your feelings, because our feelings are nature's GPS system that we've been given to know where we are in thought. However, this is completely different than Buddhism or therapy, because in Buddhism or other meditation practices, the idea is when you're aware of your thinking, to use your awareness in different ways to try to calm down thought, or to meditate to try to calm down thought. In therapy, when you're aware of your feelings, there's a myriad of techniques and ideas about what to do with that. But they all have to do with getting into the content of what you're feeling, and doing something with that, whether it's reframing your thoughts to change your feelings, or going back into your past and analyzing events and feelings. In order to understand what this is, you need to think about it as principles. When principles are discovered and described, the conversation doesn't move in the direction of what to do with them. So, for example, when Heisenberg's uncertainty principle was discovered, I believe in the late 1930s, the discovery was that the knower affects the known. And what that means is when let's say a science experiment is being observed, the observer's presence affects the science experiment. Now, when a principle like that is discovered, the next step in the conversation isn't, what do I do to make that principle behave in a way I'd like it to behave? In other words, we don't then say, well, would the knower affect the known less if I move further away from it? We might ask these questions, but it's not the point. When a principle is discovered, the point of it is that it shows how things work and how things don't work. And then a myriad of implications are revealed from that discovery. So with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, scientists have tried to do have a lot more awareness of how the observer is affecting the experiments. And they're working with their experiments with that awareness, although it took several decades before they began putting what that principle, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, revealed into practice in science, which is always, for some reason, historically the case when principles are discovered. It takes usually 40 years before people, even though they observe the truth of it, it takes historically 40 years before any given field begins to use what those principles are revealing. And as many of you know, we're right in that 40 to 50 year period with the 3 principles, which is why, most likely why, there's a much more of a global uptake now. So when you see how something works and how it doesn't work, in the case of these 3 principles, what they've revealed is that we feel our thoughts moment to moment throughout the day, and we don't feel the events or circumstances that we're having thoughts about. So we don't feel a bill we can't pay. We feel our thoughts about a bill we can't pay. We don't feel the coronavirus. We feel our thoughts about the coronavirus, et cetera, et cetera. And when you understand how something works and how it doesn't work, it takes a whole lot of misunderstanding off the table. So in the case of our psychological lives, knowing with absolute certainty 100% of the time that you are always feeling your thoughts about any given circumstance changes the ballgame completely, because it brings a lot more awareness to thought in the moment, your thoughts in the moment, creating your experience. Therefore, instinctively, we know the quality of our thinking is always changing. So if there's nothing on the outside to struggle with, all that's left is, are we in quality thinking at the moment or not? And this is where that GPS system called our feelings shows us every moment of every day. All you have to do is look there. So when you're in that, what we call outside in world of feelings, the world of feelings that get stirred up when we're in a misperception of how our psychological life is working. When we get pulled into the illusion that something someone said is putting a feeling in you rather than your thoughts about what they said or state of the world, your job, whatever it is, when you get pulled into that illusion, there's a whole set of feelings that will alert you that you're there. And they always start with insecurity, and then they build to things like stress, anxiety, busy-mindedness. And when you're not in that illusion, you're in what you might call our default setting, which is innate mental health and well-being. And the feelings that characterize that are calm, presence, security, safety, love, joy, inspiration, creativity. So I hope that that helps clarify a bit what this is, the 3 principles single paradigm, and what it's not. And as you, if you're a newcomer, as you try to understand them better, ask yourself, well, how does gravity work? When you learn about it, then what? Then you learn about its implications, how it works and doesn't work, and you navigate your life accordingly. Well, then these are principles. These are demonstrating how it works and how it doesn't work. And what is most confusing to most people is, well, then what? Because everything else out there talking about your psychological life is telling you what you should do about it. And what these 3 principles reveal is there's already a system in place to do what needs to be done about it. And when you're aligned with that system, your mind calms itself. You don't calm it through practices, because it will calm itself. Your mind is designed to drop thought whenever you allow it to. And whenever you feel safe and secure, it will. It'll just settle itself right down. Like when you're involved in your favorite activity or working out or hiking, right? Your mind just drops thought, and all of a sudden you're in the present and you're not doing things to make it do that. That's your default setting. And when you get pulled into the illusion and you start, because we have free will, we start telling our brain, I have a problem and it's coming from outside, your brain's going to go into a more dysfunctional mode of trying to find the source of your discomfort outside you because you've directed it there. And that's where psychological troubles begin and end. Your mind will start going faster and faster, generating more and more unnecessary thinking, and you will feel every one of those thoughts. And insecurity will turn into stress, which will turn into anxiety. You see? So the to-do is the same as it is with any other principle. It's to be aware of how it works and how it doesn't work, to be aware of when you're out of alignment with how it works so that you can bring your awareness back to how it does work. And then you observe in your own experience these principles doing the work for you, settling your mind down for you. And then you have the experience of mental clarity without doing anything to create that, because that's our innate mental health system. We're designed to function perfectly in this world. And isn't that good news? So that's my message for today. I hope you find it helpful.